meeting to order, please. Can I have everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to our City Council meeting here on December 9th, 2025. Our agenda is as follows here. We need a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
Motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
We have a motion?
I'll second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, we have our public hearings tonight. So letter A, the truth and taxation hearing for the final 2026 tax levy and general fund budget. So we need a motion to call the public hearing to order at 7:01.
I'll make a motion to call public hearing for truth and taxation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, our truth and taxation hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on behalf of the truth and taxation?
I was kind of curious.
Sorry, could you please come up to the podium, state your name and your address, please, and then, that was my fault, I should have given it, no, that was my fault. And then try to keep it to 3 minutes is what we like.
John Rademacher, 440 West Sharon Street. I've lived in town for 10 years. I was just kind of curious. My taxes have gone up year after year after year.
Mhm.
Married for going on 7 years, raising a family. Moved down here because I like country. Just getting harder with 2 young boys to raise a family kind of in town and stuff like that. I was just kind of curious, is there any way we can, maybe, I'm not getting an 8.5% raise this year.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of wondering, as a young guy myself, with my wife working, is there any way we can maybe not have taxes raised every year? Because, I mean, another $250 every year, it adds up, especially for a guy like me that trying to make my way, trying to, for my family. That's all I really have to say.
Well, as of tonight, with this, with our hearing tonight, not with our hearing, but tonight we're going to propose it will be, that's 8.5 will not be, if it passes through here, we're going to propose the 5.73, I believe. Is that correct, City Administrator? Is what will be proposed tonight for our, and I know that's more than zero, but we also have to think of what the cost to run the city keeps going up as well too. So
Very cost money and stuff like that. It's just,
And just for an example, just as far as just basic governmental accounting goes, we work with various vendors and property and casualty and work comp and health, and every year they propose raises to us. So to say to virtually go net zero unless we had a real large revenue probably is not possible, fiscally responsible to do that. I do know that this council advocates to try to get it lower. I know that we've had some larger increases over the last 3 years to kind of play makeup. But being tonight proposes the 5.73 in today's climate and what other cities are facing, that's pretty darn good percentage increase. I know a lot of other cities are in double digits. So might not be the greatest, but we're hoping to trend down and to do more sustainable, smaller increases over the years.
And I will say too, from coming my end and hearing things, our staff, whether it's City Administrator Evans, Chief of Police, Mr. Steinborn, they've all been working hard to get it down lower yet. So, which is.
I just looked on the back and just like
Mhm.
seeing, like Belle Plaine and stuff like that. I mean, every city's different. I get it. They're negative 13%, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, but it's just trying to cope with the times and everything's getting tighter,
Yeah,
so that's all I had to say.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it. Is there anybody else from the public about the truth and taxation hearing? City Administrator Evans, anything?
I have nothing. This is the time the public can speak on this. We will go over the meat of this later on in the packet when the council goes to approve it. But I did want to reiterate that we were at the 8.51 and it's down now to 5.73 after we had been discussing it with various budget meetings for the last couple of months. So,
Thank you. All right, hearing no further discussion, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for truth and taxation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, and that is at 7:06. All right, moving on to B out of our public hearings about ordinance 2025-8, an ordinance amending Chapter 8, the animals of the Lee Center City Code to require dogs to be restrained and leashed and to update penalty provisions. So we need a motion to call this public hearing to order at 7:07.
I'll make a motion to call the public hearing to order on the ordinance 2025-8.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, City Administrator Evans, can you brief us on this again?
yeah, so we talked about this last month. This was an ordinance that we discussed quite heavily, and then now we're at the public hearing portion of this. So this is basically, in a nutshell, the required to have your dog on a leash, not with a maximum of a 20-foot lead. Prior to that, current ordinance was under control of an owner and in a heeled position and not actually having any sort of physical lead or leash while on public property. So that's what this ordinance is up for tonight on the public hearing.
All right, thank you so much. Again, if you want to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and your address and your commentary. Thank you so much.
My name is Morgan Golden. I live at 147 Mid Truck Avenue. Good evening, members of the City Council and fellow residents. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Morgan Golden, and I appreciate your time and willingness to hear the community perspectives on the proposed enforcement of a leash law here in Lee Center. I'm here to respectfully ask the council to at least think about the decision before going forward. I would like to be clear, I fully support a responsible dog ownership and the importance of public safety. I understand the concerns that can arise when pets are not properly supervised. However, I also believe that responsibility should come from training, accountability, and education, not from a one-size-fits-all restriction that assumes all dogs pose the same level of risk. A well-trained dog that reliably responds to voice commands such as close to its owner and behaves predictably under supervision should not necessarily be forced into the same category as a dog that lacks training or displays uncontrolled behavior. Before we introduce new restrictions, it's important to acknowledge what rules already exist. Our current city code already establishes a system for accountability. Under section 8-2, all pet owners must obtain an annual license for any dog or cat over 3 months old. These licenses are issued by the administrative clerk treasurer who maintains a record of all registered animals. This framework is already in place to help identify pets, to promote responsibility, and ensure owners have a direct line of accountability. When I last reviewed the city records, I learned that only 57 dogs and cats are currently registered in Lee Center. As residents, we all know that that number does not reflect in reality. Many more pets live here and are currently licensed. That should tell us something important, that the core issue is not the absence of rules, but lack of awareness of enforcement or of existing new ones. Before adding new restrictions that may burden responsible owners, I believe we should focus on enforcing ordinances we already have, encouraging pet registration and issuing fines when necessary, would promote fairness and improve public safety and make it easier to reunite lost pets with their families. Licensing is not just a formality, it's identification system that benefits the entire community. If the city does not move forward with the leash law, I want to urge the city council to apply it fairly and consistently. At the same time, I ask the city council to consider creating a designated off-leash area such as a dog park where pets can exercise safely and the owners can socialize within a controlled environment. These spaces are proven to reduce behavioral issues, increase owner responsibility, and strengthen community connections. Before closing, I want to emphasize one final point. Whatever decision that is made here tonight should not focus solely on dogs. As you discuss this proposal, I encourage the city council to look at the broader picture of animal-related policies in Lee Center and ensure that any changes apply thoughtfully, equitably, and with consideration for all types of pets and their owners. This is an important conversation and it deserves thorough discussion, not only quick or narrow solutions that addresses only one part of a larger issue. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your commitment to making an informed, well-balanced decisions for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. All right. Is there anybody else that would like to take the podium?
I'm about to faint again, so bear with me.
Take a deep breath.
Good evening, council members. My name is Laura. I spoke last month. I live at 161 Park. I am here because I care deeply about the safety and well-being and responsible management of dogs in our community. But I am also here because this amendment, as written, goes too far and creates unintended consequences that do not actually improve public safety. The proposed ordinance states that no dog should be at large anywhere in the city, and that dog must be leashed in any public park, trail, sidewalk, or facility with the leash no longer than 20 feet. That may sound reasonable on paper, but in practice, it criminalizes responsible dog owners and ignores safer, modern alternatives already recognized across Minnesota and the country. Let's be clear. The issue is the leash requirements. The issue is a control. A dog on a 20-foot retractable leash can still injure a child, tangle a bicycle, or attack another dog, and a well-trained dog under reliable voice control can remain calmer, safer, and more responsive than a dog pulling, lunging, or reacting at the end of the leash. Many cities, including larger, more densely populated ones like in Pennsylvania, allow voice control exceptions, recognizing the responsible dog owners invest heavily in training, socialization, and public containment. This ordinance eliminates that possibility completely. Even worse, this ordinance treats every dog and its owner as irresponsible by default. It fails to recognize the distinction between a responsible dog owner and one that's not. A dog aggressively roaming the streets, I'll agree with that. A dog walking calmly under the voice control of its owner by its side, I do not agree with. A dog performing recall, work, or structure exercise. A therapy service or working dog training with equipment other than a leash. Under this wording, all of these scenarios are violations per your proposal tonight. Additionally, the penalties up to $1,000 fines or 90 days jail are shockingly disproportionate. We are talking about ordinary families being criminalized for walking a calm, well-trained dog in a quiet area with full control. This is not a good policy. This is unnecessary overreach. And while the ordinance references designated off-leash areas, the center does not have one. Before limiting freedoms, the city should first provide alternatives, establishing dog parks, training fields, or posted hours for off-leash recreation, dark to dawn. Without that, this is simply a blanket restriction with no practical solution. I respectfully urge the council to re-examine this amendment and consider a more balanced approach, including a voice control exemption for dogs trained and reliable under verbal command, clear definitions of what constitutes a nuisance, aggressive behavior, or failure to control, graduated penalties, not immediately criminal level consequences, creation of a designated off-leash or training area before enforcing these restrictive laws, consultation with trainers, veterinarians, and responsible dog owners who will understand canine behavior better than a one-size-fits-all requirement. Responsible dog ownership should be encouraged, not punished. Training should be supported, not restricted. And the ordinance should target problem behavior, not eliminate reasonable freedoms for everyone because of a what-if scenario. Please consider the families, working dogs, and well-trained companions who will be unfairly affected by this ordinance. We all want a safe community, but safety comes from education, responsible ownership, and a smart policy, not a blanket restriction. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Is there anybody else from the community or the audience that would like to state their concern?
Right. John Rademacher, 440 West Sharon Street. I do have a German Shepherd that I have trained her profusely, and she speaks all German commands. I just had some questions as like, since I'm on the west side of town, I take her and we go to the ball fields, play fetch, with 2 young boys, play fetch with her as well. When we go, second house to the end, right by the gravel road. She walks right next to me, German commands of heel. There's cars that fly by that I'm more nervous that they hit my kids than my dog. I get the understanding of the dog can run out and car swerve, hit a telephone pole, driver gets injured. I play in the ballpark all the time with my dog, and I don't see that as an issue to the community, to the public. I do get the whole leash law, but I don't want to be criminalized because I'm playing with her, teaching her fetch or anything like that, or the next dogs that I have. And I was just kind of curious. I like what they said too. What's the plan going ahead? If this becomes an ordinance where I get a fine because I can't run my dog off leash or in the woods or in the park or anything like that. Just kind of shell shocked. And my neighbor, as I was walking out the door to come here, he's got a dog too that the dogs play together. And he was kind of shell shocked too about the leash law and they said $1,000 fine and stuff like that, or 90 days imprisonment. Kind of saw that as kind of like, oh, whoa, that's pretty big for a dog off leash. So, and my only other question I had for you guys.
Well, if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
with regard to the penalty, it's up to $1,000 or up to 90 days in the county jail. Now, I've been prosecuting cases for 24 years, right? I'm city attorney for 10 different cities. I can tell you after prosecuting cases for 24 years that someone that has a one-time incident with a dog off a leash that hasn't harmed anybody isn't going to go to jail for 90 days. But I will tell you that somebody that has had multiple issues with dogs off leash, or a dog that has attacked a kid or bitten a kid or ripped a kid's face off, yeah, there's a possibility of maybe up to 90 days jail. But we keep throwing out, this penalty, $1,000, 90 days jail. It's likely not going to happen. You have a dog off of a leash, my experience is 24 years of experience. If you have a dog off a leash and it's a one-time incident, you're probably looking at $100. But we keep throwing out there 90 days. It's likely not going to happen unless it's a major issue or a dog has bitten someone. So you're shaking your head no.
And part of it,
Follow me around on
If you don't mind, please.
Hold on.
Okay.
Please come up. Please come up.
we'll wait till he's done.
Okay, absolutely.
Nobody is going to go to jail for 90 days for a one-time incident. So I just want to make that very clear.
And if you look,
Like $100 fine, just like I talked about previously. I mean, taxes going up, I don't gain any more money, and
Yeah.
here I am fighting a case of, I'm not doing anything wrong in my eyes, you know, I mean, you guys got hunting dogs too, and how the heck are you supposed to train a hunting dog on a 20-foot leash?
You don't train a hunting dog in town.
I understand that.
I don't know that you do. I mean, you don't train a hunting dog in town. And I've been around dogs my whole life. I don't see what the harm is by having a dog on a leash in town. What is, I mean, I know it's convenient for the owner, but what's the harm with having a dog on a leash?
Well, like, again, like at the ball fields, I mean, that's a chain link fenced area in that I practice retrieve commands with her.
Okay.
And that's technically city limits, right?
That's public property.
Public property, right? And so I couldn't do that anymore.
What's that?
You still limit dogs as posted on.
What's-
It
what's
is,
the-
it is posted
what's the
in
harm-
parks.
What's the harm with having a dog on a leash?
It does not allow the freedom and the public to be able to be like, oh, you have such a well-trained dog, what do? It brings up a conversation to educate people on how to properly train their dogs.
Yeah.
And with everything in town being posted, no dog, no dog, no dog, we have absolutely no place to go to let our dogs run, and that is the issue right now. And you can't, Dan, sorry to cut you off, I saw your face. You cannot say we can go to the fairgrounds, because that is county owned. That is not your guys' jurisdiction.
Yeah, I mean, the fairground could say they want dogs on leashes.
But it needs to be stated through the city and the county saying that is a designated area. At this time,
We
with
can't,
every ballpark and every place in the city,
we don't have,
city limits, nothing is designated for an area for
Laura?
us to have our dogs off leash, be able to train them properly like you're telling us to.
Laura? 3 minutes. If you're gonna talk, come to the podium. Okay. Please. City Administrator Evans.
Well, I have a picture of the sign, and it doesn't say no dogs. What it says is dog waste and a threat to the health of our children, degrades the town and transmit disease, leash and clean up after your dog. It's required by law. This sign does not say no dogs. It just says leash and clean up after your dogs, and this is on our parks.
Thank you.
Do I need to reintroduce myself?
No.
So that is where the other issue arises. You're saying the dog must be on leash in that park. How are we able to train our dogs with off-leash commands to make sure that they listen to us? Because, don't get me wrong, I have seen dogs run out of their front yard into the middle of the street.
You're right.
I have seen it. I can see why you guys want a leash law for that reason, but they're also just letting their dog out. So that is where we are coming in saying we need to have it to where we can, until you guys place a designated area where we can have our dogs off leash without getting talked to by the cops, because I know I'm gonna be the first one. We need to have a designated area before you guys enforce this law. And right now, we do not have a designated dog park for us to take our dogs to, and for us to properly train our dogs on their recall. You talked about the hunting dogs last time in an e-collar. That is where we train our dogs, is off on our walks and everything. If we walk from dark till dawn, hardly anyone's out. I walk that time every day and I never see a single car out and about, ever.
Okay, so I got a question. Where does your dog exercise right now?
Walking.
Walking.
No, sorry. She doesn't walk. She trots ahead of me, and then I call her back to me, because she's maybe like from here to the wall away from me.
So 25 feet.
25 feet, but still, if she's on a leash, she's gonna stay right next to me, because that is how I trained her with the leash. With the off leash, don't. You and me got into it last time. With the off leash, that allows them to have extra exercise, because they might be that far away, but then I say heel. She has to come right back. She might get a little further ahead of me. I say heel. She comes right back. It is more exercise to get her tired out on our run/walks, because I also run 3 miles. So that allows me to have her off leash to where I watch her when it's so dark at night. She alerts me if there's any noise or anything going on. So it's a safety issue. So now I'm gonna have to start running with my taser, my pepper spray, and my gun to be able to protect myself, because of your scenario last month. So what if could happen? If I get attacked because my dog is not on leash and I know she'll protect me, so what if, well, now I'm gonna have to rely on her right here when I can't see a danger coming.
So she can't protect you when she's right next to you,
I'm not
is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that.
So if the dog isn't running free when you go for a walk.
She is off leash, so in your guys' amendment, she is running free.
But she's not exercising where she can't be on the leash. You're not doing an exercise where she could be on the leash, so at that point.
But again,
Could you run with her on the leash?
If she's so far away from me, I can see her reactions and tell if there's a danger coming. If she's right next to me, I do not have any time to react to any danger that might be coming towards me.
Okay.
Ms. McGrath, would you want to step up?
Not particularly.
Well, if you said you wanted to.
No, I did. I guess to me, I can see both aspects of it, honestly, and I can see tensions are high. My question is more, why all of a sudden? Was there incidents that happened? Was there something that came up to prompt this? Was there, I mean, why all of a sudden does this need to be in play?
We're getting complaints.
But complaints, but not actual incidents, correct? There has been documented
Yes.
incident,
Yes,
okay, incidents,
yes.
okay, through the police, through,
Yeah.
or just people complaining?
Yes.
Both.
All.
Okay.
All.
Okay, so that was my biggest question is I didn't understand
And this,
why all of a sudden,
this isn't something that just fell out of the air.
And part of the other stuff was some of our ordinance were antiquated. And we just went along with, like, I was a cop here for 30 years. When I started, I was told, here's the, we got the leash law. There was never
not be able to have
there was-
ballparks.
there was
I
never
totally
thing on-
understand ordinances.
there was never anything on the books,
I understand how they
exactly.
work.
So,
I just,
it was,
is the justification via the complaints make sense? I mean, has there been that big of complaints from dogs? Are they attacking people or people are just scared of them?
No, they've been,
What are the situations that we're talking
we've
about?
had situations where people have been charged at, they've been bit,
My husband's been bit in this town.
I'm sorry,
My husband's been bit in this town from a
Yeah.
dog.
So-
And then you address that person, that family, that
Correct.
situation, that
That dog-
specific situation.
that dog, that owner, yes, there are cases that are.
And he was bitten after somebody else.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that every situation's a bit different.
Yep.
So to create a ordinance in place via certain, you know what I mean? I can see both sides. So I can see where there are a lot of people with dogs that have not harmed people that are off leash. And if you have, so to reprimand the whole via a few, I can see that aspect as well. And I hope you guys can too. So that's all I have to say.
thank you.
I'm sorry, what was your full name and address?
Melissa Ann McGrath, and it's 155 North Lexington.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else from the,
What the heck? I'll go up there. Hello,
Hi.
my name is Kylie Herrera. I live at 350 East Woodridge Drive, new address, sorry. I walk one of my dogs off leash. She has an e-collar. That's just something that I've taken a lot of pride in. I've spent a lot of time training him to know my commands and to, learn how to approach different people and when it's time, when it's not time. We see dogs running past us and he knows that it's his job to stay right by me. It's something that I take pride in as a dog owner, as a responsible dog owner, that I love to do, and seeing a leash law be put into place would be unfortunate and sad for us, but kind of like Melissa said, I see where you guys come from on the other side of there's dogs that run all over the roads and some, owners that cannot control their dogs. So I see why a leash law could be beneficial for some people, but I think those specific owners are already irresponsible dog owners to be letting their dogs do that in the first place. So I think that's kind of a penalty to us where we're trying to do the right thing and we're trying to, have our dogs secure and with us like my dog is right next to me and I don't like him to go far because I don't like the what ifs personally. But like I said, I get both sides, but I really like the fact of I have the responsibility to make that decision for my dog. Something that I take pride in and I enjoy doing every day after work is going and working with my dog and training. And personally, I don't know anywhere else that I could do that in or outside of town where I could take him off leash safely. And for the parks, I was gonna ask you, because a few times we've been asked, like, removed from the parks. I didn't know if that was like some parks that had.
All of our parks have that posted sign. Was this recently that you
Yeah.
were removed?
Yeah,
Were your dogs off leash?
yes,
So then
so that
could-
was why, okay,
Yeah, 'cause
okay.
it's posted with the signage that
Got it,
says
okay,
on
just
leash.
so he was off a leash. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Anybody else from the public? No? All right. Hearing no further discussions, we need a motion to close this public hearing at 7:32.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing for ordinance 2025-8. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Moving on to our consent agenda for this evening. Our consent agenda, approval of minutes from our regular council meeting held on November 10th, 2025. Approval of claims to be paid. Approval of resolution number 2025X, a resolution designating the polling place for 2026. Approval of resolution number 2025Y, a resolution approving the transfer of $85,000 from the liquor store fund to the general fund. And approval of resolution number 2025Z, a resolution establishing the regular meeting dates for the city council for fiscal year 2026. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right. All right, moving on to public comment. If you have a public comment, please come up. State your name, your address. If you have any petitions, requests, comments, or communications from the general public, you may feel free to come up to the podium. No? All right. There are no presentations for this evening. So next we'll move on to old business. Approval of resolution number 2025AA, a resolution rescinding resolution number 2025T, ordering the abatement nuisance property conditions at 346 South Montgomery Avenue. And in with this, this is being rescinded because the owner has now completed the cleanup of the property and brought it into the compliance with the city's nuisance and property maintenance ordinances. City attorney has verified city administrator and city attorney have verified that the nuisances and conditions identified in resolution number 2025T have been fully abated and no longer city action.
Chief, you're good with it?
You good? Anything else we have to state about that?
There's not,
All
just
right.
need to approve it.
All right, thank you so much. We need a motion to approve resolution number 2025AA.
I make a motion to approve the resolution 2025AA. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Now, with that said, you know, we have oftentimes seen nuisance properties fall back into nuisance status 6 months to a year later. If this does become a problem, we'll be bringing it back to your attention. We can always readdress this.
Okay.
Keep
Is
that
there-
in mind.
Is there a, because it would be a renewing of this, would there be a whole brand new process, or would we go a slightly different route?
Very good question. It depends on what the issue is.
Okay.
I would say 99% certain that we'd have to start the process anew.
Okay.
But I would let you know that the criminal process is still at play. And so that could make the new process a little easier if nuisance issues arise, because the person will probably be on probation at that point in time.
Okay.
You'd have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
But by rescinding this, you in no way prohibit a new action from coming. It's not like double jeopardy attaches or anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On to new business. The second reading and approval of ordinance 2025-8, an ordinance amending the chapter 8 animals of the Lee Center City Code to require dogs to be restrained and leashed, and to update the penalty provisions. With this, I'll just get this started off here. In the end, with all this, and talking with people from the community, it comes down to safety for our public, comes down to feeling safe. Kids, there are kids out there that are scared when big dogs come around. If they're off leash, that makes them scared even longer. I know you peoples here probably have done a great job training your pets, your dogs. But what do we do when it comes to the people that say, oh, I did it, but they're really not, right? There's those people there that we need to have something set in place for our city to, I guess, so to say, be backed, right? And that's why we need to go with it. I think we need to do this. I know you guys put a lot of time and effort in your pets, and I commend you for that. I'm putting in a lot of time on one of our newer dogs as well. And it costs money, and it costs time. And I know you love your pets. We love our pets. But we just got to worry about everybody in the community, okay? Again, we want them to feel safe. We want the kids not to worry when they're out and about going to and from school. And you're not walking them probably when they're going to and from school. But we do have to make sure that we are, as a community, making sure that everybody is feeling safe. That's my point of view. People may like it, they may not like it. So that's my point of view. Does anybody else have anything to discuss?
I know after the last meeting, I went and did some looking on the internet and such on dog leash laws and things where they're at. And it does state that there are good reasons out there as far as walking your dog on leash does give them good mobility, freedom, etc. But it also says to do that in an area where it's not populated, on a trail out somewhere. And then a couple things one that got me at the end of looking at some of these articles was it said, if the dog is trained well enough to walk without a leash, it's trained well enough to walk with a leash, that it would not affect it in any way because it's trained that well. So I look at that and also look at a lot of other things and say, I walk in the Fleet Farm. I see people bring their dogs in all the time, but no dogs are running free. They're always on a leash. And that's a rule or such that Fleet Farm would have. I don't see any of them running loose on that. Also, any canines, which is the dog I feel is highly trained, I don't see canines with their prospective owners typically walking without a leash. And those dogs are really trained to call off, and you know, and even they take that serious.
Now, in the fact that was mentioned here, yes, right now we don't necessarily have a wide open area for you to train. Those are things that City Administrator Evans and myself, we're trying to find. We really are. And it's not like we're trying to sit down on our rears and not doing anything. We're trying to find that area that's gonna work out best in the community, best for our citizens here in town. And that's where we're at right now. And we're looking to do better there and find someplace.
And part of it that I even asked Dan about it today when I read it is the 20-foot leash. And I'm happy with that because a lot of places you go and it's a 6-foot leash. I mean, you can't, hiking trails in the state park, you can't take your dog off a leash
Correct.
in the middle of the woods
Correct.
in a state park. It's got to be on a 6-foot leash.
Correct.
And, you know, you go in there in the winter, chances you're not going to see anybody, but it's still there. So why can't our citizens expect the same? I don't want to say security from a dog because me personally, I'm not worried about many dogs. You know, there's very few dogs that way, but it is to keep that dog guaranteed, well, still not guaranteed, but better peace of mind that it's under control when it's in hand versus on a remote collar or just running loose. I think this is fair all the way around.
I also feel that way. I worked at the prison for 24 years, worked with numerous canine officers. Them dogs, they put them dogs through $50,000 to $75,000 worth of training for voice commands. Them dogs are on a 6-foot harness leash. The only time I've ever seen them dogs off a leash is when they were in an area outside of the concealed area of the prison in a fenced-in area with those dogs. They are highly trained. I feel for you. I understand what you're saying. You want to be able to, your dog's trained. That's great. I had hunting dogs. I've lived in Lee Center for 30 years. I had hunting dogs years ago. I live right in town. My dog was never out in my yard without a leash on. I brought it out to the state wildlife management areas. I worked them out of town. I walked out on County Road 126. Hardly ever see a vehicle out there. Huge shoulders. Plenty of area to run with them, walk with them. I understand where you're coming from, but for the safety of, there's a lot of people that are scared. Do they have a reason to be scared? Probably not, but they generally are. I drive up into a person's yard that I might know it. Their dog comes up, starts barking. I'll tell you what, I don't get out of that vehicle, even though I've been there numerous times before. I've seen dogs turn on, bite a person. Best friend of mine's dog come up behind me, took me right by the ankle. I've seen that dog for many years. It just happened to do it. Did it hurt me? No, it didn't, but it scared the living bejesus out of me. But I think this is fair, I really do. That's just all I have to say.
Are there any other discussions?
One, I'm not here to fall to anyone's what ifs or feelings. I don't care about people's feelings. I hardly do. All of you could see that tonight. But I can also see where this amendment, you guys are gonna push another amendment in the future to where every dog owner must fence in their yard because of what if they run out of the owner's yard? And then you're gonna have a lot of city owners or city council owners here. But that's how far I see this going.
Thank you, Laura. All right, any other discussion?
Mine just comes from a point of somebody who does have anxiety of big dogs. And my son does, and like he'll run. My youngest son, who's 8, he sees the dog out, like he'll run. And that's, I've talked to him about it, like you just gotta stand, like trying to train the kid too. Like you can't run because that's also gonna trigger something. Like, but I got attacked by a dog when I was young, and that's stuck with me from a relative's dog. Walking around, only now that I know your situation, do I know that your dog is well trained, but prior to that, I wouldn't know that, and that would like probably turn and walk the other way or whatever. I wouldn't see, I'd hope, when they're on their property, I wouldn't see it going that far in town to where they would force you to put up a fence, but just speaking, as somebody who I don't like, where I go pick up my eggs from somebody out in the country, I don't get out. They're like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, doesn't sound fine. The hair standing up on the back of its neck. Like, I don't get out of the truck until, huh?
Right.
Well, right, yeah. So I respect that, and I don't get out. But I've seen dogs act like that, not on their property, and I don't know. It's not attacking anybody. It's safety of all. Like it feels like it is for you. Like I get that, but like I feel safer if I see somebody having their dog on a leash than not. And I would assume the 8-year-old running around at the park probably would feel safer too. And there's going to be kids who don't have that fear because they've been around dogs. They're going to run up to the dog, and that can be an issue too for some. But that's my perspective.
Any other discussion? All right. With hearing no other further discussion, we need to have an approval of ordinance number 2025-8.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-8.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I do want to thank everybody coming in for your words. I really do. All right, moving on to next on our agenda, the approval of resolution number 2025-AB, a resolution to accept the 2020-26 final property tax levy and general fund budget. On here, we have our new, like I stated earlier, City Administrator Evans and city staff have worked hard at bringing it down from the 8.5% down to a $1,742,657, which is a 5.73%. With the final general fund budget would be set at $2,332,685. Is there any discussion? City Administrator Evans, do you have anything more to present with this?
I don't. It's on page 25 of your packets, the resolution for approval tonight. Like you said, staff worked hard on getting this dropped down a little bit, so it's always good to have a preliminary in September and be able to bring it down for final adoption. And like I'd indicated in some past conversations going through budget processing, much of the reduction came from health insurance, switching over from our small group Blue Cross Blue Shield over to Medica, so that saw some savings. You will note on here on this first page, capital improvement fund has actually have a reduction because that amount now went to the proposed for tonight the geo certificate for the plow truck. So instead of taking money in the capital improvement fund for revenue, that's not going to be a geo equipment certificate. So that's kind of reflected. Again, it's the same amount of money. It's just kind of switching those two funds around for how they're they're basically levied for. That's really the only minor change amongst the reduction. I will say overall, some of the other reduction components were property and casualty through League of Minnesota Cities and also workman's comp. Both of those saw a couple of percentage in reduction this year. Although we carry a modifier, which is a algorithm number that they use for workman comps because of past claims, I'm hopeful that if staff can maintain no injuries at the workplace, that modifier will reduce and we'll continue to see a reduction in the subsequent years for that workman's comp.
Any other discussion?
I just want to say thanks to Dan and all the other people involved in digging through and dropping this down. This budget stuff is a pain in the butt and to work on, and it's not where anybody'd like it, but it's better than what it originally was or could have been. So thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, with that, we need an approval of our resolution number 2025AB.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025AB.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Passes. All right, if we move to page number 53 in the packet, we have the approval of the Personnel Policy Handbook updates to take effect January 1st, 2026. Within here is the Minnesota paid leave, as well as family and medical leave, or FMLA as well. Could you update us on any?
Yes, so this is what we've been talking about the last couple of months. This policy was created from Human Resources staff with the Council of Governments. So this is a very boilerplate government policy that they put together for their other member cities. So that's here before you tonight for adoption. You cannot opt out of this. This is mandatory. It goes live January 1st, 2026. As we talked about in previous meetings, we're going to do a 50-50 split with employees and employer. And right now it's set at a 0.88% of your gross wages to fund basically this pool of money that the state's going to have for this, whatever you call it, for this Minnesota paid leave. So we'll just need a motion to approve this Minnesota paid leave policy.
Any other questions? All right, we need to move to approve the personnel policy.
I'll make a motion to approve the personal policy handbook updates.
No, second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Next one there is the FMLA. Typically, before the city never had this FMLA policy. It's a federal policy. We always were under the assumption and told by previous HR specialists that we didn't have to have it because of the minimum employee numbers that we have. So because we're a local government, we're actually opted to have an FMLA policy. And then we're required to have it in our policy handbook. So Council of Governments also worked on this, very similar to Minnesota paid leave. And then if we did have an employee kind of take one or the other, typically they would run concurrently. So this is now adding a FMLA policy to our handbook as well.
That was part of the.
Yeah, that's part of the update. I just wanted to.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on to approval of the 2026 pay scale for non-union staff. Basically, the non-union staff is everybody except our police department. All right, as you can see, there has been a 0% increase cost of living in ourselves. And the part that is in yellow down below, that is our seasonal staff, which What was that for?
Yeah, so we talked about this quite extensively in September meeting, and that part hasn't changed. Highlighted in yellow is the market rate. Those are seasonal employees, our lifeguards, our park staff, cashier. We always typically match that to kind of market rate. So those saw increases of 50 cents. So that's the only change in the scale from this year in 2025 that was approved that we're recommending for approval in 2026. Again, I wanted to reiterate, there was no cost of living adjustment on the scale. So those, how our policy works is for those employees that meet the requirements, we'll do a lane change for years of service given, if they have the ability to move up in a lane. But the actual cost of living adjustment to shift all the numbers on the scales, that will maintain at 0%.
Okay. Discussion? All right, we need a motion to approve the 2026 pay scale for non-union staff.
Make a motion to approve 2026 pay scale for non-union staff.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Approval of the 2026 benefits for full-time staff. What do you have for us here, Dan?
So nothing is new. We just, going along with our policy updates and switching insurance providers, we had the Council of Governments kind of redo this employee benefits package on what they get. So this is just kind of a good, useful resource for the council to know what exactly the city is covering. And this is also a great tool to hand to any prospective employee or current staff on what the offerings that the city has. It just kind of puts it into a nice 3-pager. We can accompany this with anybody, looking to get hired on with the city too. So that's just there for approval. I got in the habit of doing this last year, kind of approving the benefits overview for the subsequent years. In this, it does lay out the same percentage rates for the plans. That's not changed. If the council ever did want to change it, we would start those conversations during budgeting, and then you would see that here in the final revision. But everything pretty much is the same from last year, just kind of updated, bolstered a little bit with some good information.
Any discussion?
Just question about the vacation balances, for instance, where it says maximum vacation balance, 200 hours.
Yep.
Is that, does the employee have to be under that?
They do, yeah.
By the end of the year, and if they're not,
Nope.
they're over to the, how's that work?
So we have good question. We have a legacy policy and we have a new policy. So legacy is for those employees. I think we only have maybe 3 or 4 of them on there. What happens for them is they get a lump sum come January of whatever their accrual is. Okay. But now we go on an accrual rate per pay period for all the employees. I think there's 10 of us now. Okay. And basically you can have that maximum vacation balance and you can carry that over from year to year. Okay. You just can't go above that maximum.
Got you. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, we need a motion to approve the 2026 benefits for the full-time staff.
I make a motion to approve the 2026 benefits for full-time staff.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, moving on, we have the first reading of ordinance 2026-1 and ordinance amending ordinance 2025-1. This is in relation to the fee schedule. As you can see throughout pages 71 to 78, I believe. This hasn't changed much. There are a few areas. Pollinator Garden was crossed out on page 71. For building permit fixed fees, those went up $5 for all of them. And then moving on to page 75, through residential and commercial utility fees, those all were increased in relation to
the water utility rate setting.
For the study. And then we have, going back to, what is this one?
I do want to make mention, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
On page 75 there, The police department, with the passage of the ordinance that talks about the fines for leash law, we had animal at large offenses, which were there. Haven't been, I don't think, used in a number of years now with staff changeover, but those were for administrative offenses where they were local in nature. So after talking with Attorney Moran tonight, we're going to recommend that we just remove those animal at large first, second, and third offense for administrative fines, because we'll now have that covered in your newly amended ordinance that you passed tonight. So
Okay.
I just want to make that recommendation.
Okay.
Again, this is just first reading.
Yep, this is just the first
and
reading.
We'll get that dialed in for next month.
All right, and that's with all the surcharge, and then we have the surcharge rates and industrial user fines for minor and major violations that
Yeah,
apply.
Yeah, this is something new. You know, the city has one significant industrial user, and with working with Bolton and Mink and Pat Ketterlick, our chief water and sewer operator, this is some language that Lana Tillis with Bolton and Mink wanted to put on there. We're gonna hopefully switch out of a rate structure at which we kind of bill a year behind, and we're gonna try to bill currently, so a month behind. And then that's why last year we established on page 75 there, you see surcharge rates, you see the TSS, TP, and CBOD. If I'm gonna be honest, Dan, what do those mean?
CBOD is carbon biological oxygen demand. TSS is total suspended solids, and TP is total phosphorus.
Thank you. So now when we do a billing, we're just getting this ready to go, and hopefully when we switch over on our new user agreement, it's gonna be a month behind, and we're gonna bill upon these rates, not do the average that we did in the other one. So a couple more iterations, and that's why you're seeing that kind of that surcharge rates under there, under the two asterisks.
Thank you. And I believe those are the only updates that we had in red.
Yes.
Did I forget anything there?
No, you did. Great red line version, so you can see what the changes were.
All right, thank you so
And
much.
pollinator garden just gone.
Yeah, if we, when we looked at the last ordinance, likely it's gonna be a permit, but it's gonna be a $0 permit if and when the city decides to move forward with that, so we're taking it out of there.
On the tiered usage rate for the water, that 0 to 3,000 gallons, is that what you pay up the first 3,000, and then from the next 3,000, the next 6,000 you're paying there?
That is correct. Yes, our
Right.
billing system does that tiered, and it's done on a per gallon rate. Divide it out by 1,000 gallons. So yeah, that's exactly right. And then we also have a tiered usage under sanitary sewer as well, that you can see. So that tiered usage for water was actually a requirement years back from the Minnesota DNR. So we never had one before. So when we did our water utility rate study, that's when we implemented that.
Okay. All right, so that being the first reading, we need to set a public hearing for ordinance 2026-1 on January 13th, 2026 at 7 p.m. This is our normal city council meeting. We will need a motion to set this.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing on ordinance 2026-1 for January 13th, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, moving on to page 79, the approval of the 2026 capital improvements. These capital improvement projects were, we've gone over through with our budget at our budget meeting back in September. All these projects will be coming out of our capital improvement fund itself.
I know I do want to say that the funding source is in the right column there, so some of them.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
And then the other funding source is what it is.
Sorry about that.
So this is just an updated one with projected starting balance, what we anticipate to levy into the fund, and then anticipated revenue going in there. The projects have remained the same, the amounts have remained the same. This is just an updated version. And you can see after the proposed expenditures in 2026, what you're going to be left with at balance year of end. Very, very similar to what you're going to start the balance with.
It's good.
So.
Which is good. Any discussion items there? We need to have an motion to approve 2026 capital improvement funds. Improvements.
I'll make a motion to approve 2026 capital improvements.
And a second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, moving on to letter I, review the plow truck financing proposals. From page 80 to 83, you have the three proposals from three different entities. Any discussion on these proposals?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, we just want to reiterate that we issued a request for proposal at the last meeting that went out, and as I indicated, we went out to the two local banks here in town, and then also the financing company, truck center companies for their options. On page 80, I did a summary sheet where it provides the interest rates and then the total paid over term, and First National Bank of LeCenter had the best rate at 3.7%, which is the lowest amount term over total paid over the term, which is $332,092.97. So it's staff recommendation that we move forward with that to do the financing of the plow truck. I just wanted to have you review these proposals, and then I'll ask for action in the next
item.
If there's any questions on these, on the summary or the subsequent letters that were submitted, I can answer them. Now we can move on to.
All right. We'll move on to the next letter J, approval of resolution number 2025 AC, resolution providing for the issuance of and sale of a $296,396 general obligation equipment certificate, series 2025A, and levying a tax for the payment thereof. So we need a motion to approve resolution number 2025 AC.
I make a motion to approve the resolution number 2025 ACA resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, moving on. Approval of resolution number 2025 AD, a resolution approving the issuance of an on-sale wine and strong beer license with Sunday sales for La Tamaulipeca Tienda y Taqueria. I'm sorry. I'm not a good Spanish.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm sorry. But we need a motion to approve this. As you may remember, they came to us before and we weren't able to help them in their request before, but this one is something that we can fully.
Yes, prior application was for a full on-sale intoxicating liquor. And then from there, we found out for ordinance, it can only be to club. It can only be to club, so then they went back and reapplied for this on-sale wine, strong beer with a Sunday sale. So this is well within, very similar to Home Plate. They have the same type of license, same restaurant, so it'd be ran very similar to that.
Motion to approve the resolution number 2025 AD.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, moving on to the reports of departments and organizations. Planning and zoning, Corey Block.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I don't have much to report unless you've got questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Block?
No meetings, anything coming up that we, planning and zoning? Nobody's,
Might be working on one,
Okay.
just some topics that have come up in the last few weeks. Otherwise, no hotbed stuff, no applications, no deadlines or timelines.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Block.
Thank you.
thank you.
Liquor store report, Ms. Vikla does not look like she's in attendance tonight.
Correct, she was a little bit concerned about the road conditions, so I said that she could stay home. So her report there is provided on page 97 through 99.
If you do have any questions, make sure you reach out to her. But all the information is right here that she presents for us.
While I have your ear in the stage, I do want to mention that as an industry for municipal liquor stores, on a state average, we are all seeing a trendward down on sales. You can listen to, different, read different news articles and listen to some anchors out there talking. A lot of it is because of the just personal level of trend of people not consuming as much alcohol as they used to. That's a generational thing. And we've had talks with MMB about this and the trends everywhere. So likely what we're going to see is in future budget discussions, that amount that the liquor store transfers into the general fund for general operations, it's likely going to be a recommendation of staff that we start reducing that amount. Because I think what's going to happen is we're going to be running tighter, and then we're going to likely start dipping into their fund balance. And we can talk about it at a future date, but since I had everybody's attention, I did want to mention that that is likely going to be something that's coming down the road. So.
All right. Thank you for that.
And given that Becky's not able to make it tonight, I think just some of the things that coming up here in December here, they have live music by Brady Warren on Friday, December 12th. And Saturday, December 20th, live music by Just the Two of Us, Ugly Christmas Sweater Party, and Ham Bingo. And then on December 21st, they have Schomer Karaoke on Sunday. And on December 27th is a Pfeffer Tournament, which is on a Saturday. And then New Year's Eve party with DJ Kern Bros, and New Year's Day party.
All right. And holiday hours, Christmas Eve, the liquor store is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The bar from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Christmas Day, it is closed. New Year's Eve, our regular hours, and New Year's Day, the liquor store is open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the bar portion is 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. as well. Thank you. All right, moving on to police report. Chief Overin, how are we doing?
Good evening. For the month of November, we patrolled 2,684 miles. We took a total of 215 calls a month. That brings our yearly count to 2,269 calls as of right now. That's up just about 16% over the last year. Other than that, any questions for me?
How was the snow removal?
We were not very popular. Assuming you saw that.
Yeah.
We did our best for now.
No.
Well, we just want to remember that we want to be able to clear up the streets. We want to make it easy for our public works to make sure they're cleaned up for the safety of our community as well in that aspect. And that's what we have there. And like Dan and I have been talking about, make sure that you check out the city webpage and Facebook, and that to make sure that you know when those all emergencies are happening. When
over inches snow, they have to be off the road.
Correct.
I do have one question. For instance, for residents that have a single car garage, only room for one vehicle, and they have to be off the streets, and people have been pull up behind their other vehicle.
They can park in their yard during the snow emergency
Okay.
time.
I figured they could, I just,
That was,
it just got blown way out of proportion, I just wanted to verify.
the ones on the Facebook are mixing snow ordinances with our summertime nuisance properties.
Gotcha.
No vehicles were ticketed for parking in their yard during the snow
Okay,
emergency.
thank you.
And nor will they be during the hours of the snow emergency or until their road is cleared curb to curb. They can park wherever they want on their property.
Very good, thank you, chief.
Great
Thank you.
question.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief. All right, moving on to Public Works report. Mr. Steinbart.
Also mayor. Yeah, we've been very busy with the snow. Just reminding homeowners and business owners not to be throwing the snow out into the street. That's all we're gonna do is throw it back in your driveway. So put it off on the grass and really that's not legal. We've been busy at the skating rink. Flooded it twice already. It's not ready. Takes a while to get that firm. We tried sweeping it the other day and we fell through in a few spots. So it's not ready. It's gonna take a little bit, hopefully maybe next week. And just a reminder, holidays this year fall on garbage pickup day. So we'll be picking up garbage on Wednesday, both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Garbage will be a day earlier.
Okay.
Has it been getting better with people chucking garbage down by the truck on the weekend, or
Still get a few bags there.
not as bad as?
Bad.
I did want to step in there too and kind of piggyback even off what Mitch said. I fielded a complaint today, but it was not the complaint I thought it would be for snow removal. This individual had taken their vehicle off the roadway, parked it in their driveway like they're supposed to, but there were other vehicles that didn't. And then that creates a berm around that vehicle with snow. And then I got a complaint about that snow still being there. So yeah, we might have some complaints on people that got a ticket for parking on the street, but then we're also getting complaints from the abutting neighbors who now that affects their ingress and egress getting into their properties. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, but I did feel that complaint today and I thought it was important to at least let you guys know that, because on the other spectrum, we're getting that too, that they want to see the road cleared curb to curb as well.
Thank you. Thank you, City Administrator Evans. Any questions?
Just one on Main Street, for instance, on times like how it snowed the other day in the middle of the night. Is there something that could be done? I know it's very difficult for you as city workers to clean the whole street when there's vehicles parked there. Is there possibility of, in a snow, I don't know, we want to say snow emergency or something, put
Yeah,
like
snow
a temporary police no parking there so we can get them streets completely plowed from sidewalk or to curb? I know it was pretty rough the other day.
It was rough, and one of the bad things is if we get a snow on a weekend, I don't know how much overtime you guys want to pay. So, I mean, we'd come in and do it whenever you want, but I don't know how much, we don't have a lot of money. We don't have an open budget.
No, I understand.
That's part of the reason why I didn't get cleaned up this weekend. We left it for Monday. So,
And most cities did not clean it up over the weekend. They waited because it was such a nuisance amount and everyone's trying to be mindful because we're already just starting out in winter. So we just need to be very mindful of the budget going forward because it seems like it's going to be a winter.
Yep.
Those streets are also posted no parking from 2 AM to 7 AM.
Yeah.
So the city usually has 2 or 3 hours to get to them before anybody should be parking. And they do the main ones first.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think we plowed more snow this year already than we did the last 2 years.
2 years.
I believe it.
It's going to be busy when this keeps up.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to administrators report. City Administrator Evans.
I'll keep this brief with a couple updates. We did our preliminary audit, so our auditors, Abdul, came down for a day, looked at various pieces of information. That looked real well, so we're going to set up a time later part of January to do the full audit. Like I mentioned, we're switching Jan 1 from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Medica, and I've been working with our providers to make that a smooth transition and then letting staff know about those transitions. So that should be smooth sailing. And then, just for me, I got a lot of year-end compliance and reporting to do to the county and state level on different budgets and various things. So busy time of year for staff, that's for sure. That's all I got for my updates.
Thank you, City Administrator Evans. Any questions? Nope. All right. Moving on to the Lee Stewart County Commissioner updates from Mr. Preisler. Commissioner Preisler is not here tonight. Did he?
He did not communicate.
Nope, nothing. No. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Moving on to other business. Any council reports? Anybody from meetings that they've been to?
I had an ambulance meeting, here in November where I just re-elected or elected the officers for the next year. That's the only thing that we have with that, going on.
I know City Administrator Evans and myself, we were at the county officials meeting last week, which I thought it was very informational. We had Senator Draheim and Representative Steer that had some good information for us. I thought it was a really good one. So keep your eyes out for those emails, and if you can get to them, they're awesome. We got some good good information at those meetings, so if you can make it. All right, moving on to letter B, another business. City offices will be closed December 24th through the 26th for Christmas, and December 31st through January 1st for the New Year's. All right. Anything else? If that is all, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. And a second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.